Hey guys, thanks for joining me tonight on the Dad Code Podcast. Real dads, real talk, no BS. Going to be talking tonight a little bit about our championship experience. I told you on the last Coach Dad update that we had made it to the championship game. I'm going to share with you our results, how we did. Did we win? Did we lose? How did we learn anything coming away from it? But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button down below for me. It really helps us out whenever you do that. Go ahead and comment below and share it with all your friends. Give us a rumble on Rumble. You can follow us on all your social media: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. We're on TikTok. Um, Also, you can find the audio version of all these podcasts on your favorite podcasting platform. All right. Championship Saturday. It was a sight to behold. Um, Very proud of the boys and how they played. Uh, we did not win. It was actually one of the best games I have ever been a part of. College, high school, um, t-ball, coach pitch, any of those leagues. I feel like it was an extremely competitive game. It came down literally to the last inning, literally to the last out and the last batter. We had runners in scoring position with two outs in the bottom of the last inning. Um, and it was quite an atmosphere. It really was. I'll start from the beginning that first off, it was really hot that day, really, really hot. Like high 90s kind of stuff. No sunshine or no clouds, rather, no wind to speak of. The boys, I could tell, were for the first time, I saw nerves. They kind of understood the gravity of the situation. They understood what they were up against. As far as the other team, I mean, the other team had beat us earlier in the year, but I mean, we kind of beat ourselves at that point by just some simple mistakes that we had made. But coming into the game, we were pretty confident that it was going to be a really competitive game. So we get started off to a great start. I mean, and by the way, the rules changed for the championship game. All year we've been playing 1 hour time limit or 6 innings, whichever one comes first. Now all of a sudden, there's no time limit and 6 innings with a run rule sprinkled in there. So that was a big change, obviously, a big challenge physically and mentally for the boys. It was tough for sure with as hot as it was. We went up early all the way through, like I think we were winning all the way through the fourth inning, and then it came to the fifth inning, and I think they tied it up. Uh, and then we went ahead by maybe two in the bottom of the fifth, and then we went in and they kind of just had an onslaught on us, scored 6 or 7 runs, but they were up by six going into the last inning, the bottom half of the last inning. And, I still felt confident. By the way, I was dizzy out there throwing because I was so hot and dehydrated. I was slamming Gatorade trying to keep some electrolytes in me because I was purely going on muscle memory when throwing those pitches to these kids. Um, let's see. So we were down six going into the last inning. We scored five, had two outs, had runners on second and third, with a kid coming up that I usually don't worry about ever. He's a really good kid. He's a really good hitter, really good player. I can't really describe to you the atmosphere adequately, but I'm going to try. Imagine 40 or 50 35 to 40-year-olds hooting and hollering, screaming, rooting for the kid to strike out. This is the part I struggle with as a coach because I look at what could I have done to prepare him better. I don't know that there's anything I could have done to prepare him for this situation. I mean, I tried to, get him focused. It'd be like, look, it's me and you, nothing else. None of this. Oh, oops, I just hit the mic. None of this over here matters. Don't even pay attention to it. I mean, but I could just tell, we had the deer in the headlights look. It was absolutely, he was terrified. So, subsequently he struck out to end the game. It was heartbreaking. Um, it was heartbreaking for me as a coach because I didn't want it for me. I wanted them to earn it, and they were on track to earn it. But lots of lessons to be learned. There were some good things, again, it was heartbreaking to these kids. Many of them that we had on our team, this is either their first full year of baseball, and they made it to the championship. We we all shared some tears, some hugs. I got to see some teammates step up and console other teammates, which is something that I had been preaching. We got to do all we got to win together. We lose together. We do everything together as a team. That's the only way that we win championships. That part we clearly had down. I'm very proud of how these boys handled themselves. We did get a ring. We got a second place ring. So I mean, it was difficult in the moment to console them, but at the same time, what a game! I've preached all season that sports aren't fair, or excuse me, sports are fair. They're better than life. Um, you do what you're supposed to do, and you come out on top. It doesn't mean that you did a bad job. These are the things that I have to try to pass on to these kids. That look, it's not the loss. The loss is not where it stops. It's where it starts. It's where everything begins. What matters is your first reaction after that. These kids are finally getting to the age to where they get they get pissed when they lose. There were some tears after the game, but they were quickly dried up and replaced with anger. Maybe not anger. Maybe it was, I'm hoping that it's more of a motivation thing. You know what I mean? I'm hoping that this was something that stirred something up inside of them that said, you know what? I don't like this feeling. I don't like this losing feeling in this atmosphere on this stage. I'm not going to let this happen to me again. That's what you hope as a coach. You question yourself all the time as a coach. Are you putting enough of that mentality in them, and you don't want to put too much of it in them because you don't want them to be a jerk, quite frankly. But I mean, you want them to be able to take seemingly negative situations and to be able to take them and turn them into motivation. Because whether anybody wants to admit it or not, anger is energy. Anger is a lot of energy. There's a lot of energy in anger. It can cause a lot of action uh, if you have the right mindset, but it can also spark deep, deep depression. So I was very, very careful, particularly with the kid that struck out to end the game. I made it very clear to him that without him, we don't make it where we are today. I was very proud of him. Always will be proud of him. There's nothing he can do on this baseball field that would change my feelings about that. He was obviously still upset, but what I've noticed is, he has an older brother. The kids that have older brothers tend to have that thicker skin. They tend to have that mean streak in them because I don't think older brother would. I don't think they let them dwell on that kind of stuff. I think older brother comes in there and is like, I can't believe he struck out. They just hold their feet straight to the fire. They say, Bud, you struck out at the end of the game. You got to get better. And God bless the older brothers out there for being that reality check for younger brothers and younger siblings because I think that this kid is really going to grow from it. I just kind of have that feeling that he's going to be upset in the moment, at least right then and there. And who wouldn't be, right? It was a stage that he had clearly never been on. And there's nothing I can do as a coach to prepare him for that many grown adults hooting and hollering, whooping it up, hoping that he strikes out and hey batter kind of stuff. I mean, he really, and I meant it. He seriously is one of the reasons we were there. I'm not even joking. I'm not exaggerating. Every single player on this lineup contributed in that game. It was a 19-18 loss, but it was a battle. And what I told the boys after the game is, I had been preaching to them all year to stay in the fight. I told them, the day before at the game, the semifinal game, to finish the fight. That now we're going to finish the fight. And what I told them after the championship game, after we had lost, is, I did say finish the fight, and I meant it. We did finish the fight, but every fight has a winner and a loser. But whenever it's a fight like we just endured, that both teams just endured, everybody has mutual respect. Either team could have won that game, clearly. I mean, it's clear as day. A lot of things could have gone differently throughout the day that it could have swayed it one way or the other. I mean, you never know. The kid that struck out, if he hits a ground ball that gets through the infield, that game is over and we win. And I guarantee you that 9 times out of 10, that doesn't happen. So, yes, I told him we did finish the fight. We came out on the wrong half of it. We didn't win. But I think we learned something about ourselves. I told him all year. I told him that I don't care what the scoreboard says. I care about looking at ourselves, looking at each other, and being honest with ourselves. Did we get better? How much better can I get? And am I willing to do the work in the off season? So everybody left there in a everybody was obviously a little bit mopey, but I think everybody, by the time they left the park, I'd had hugs with just about everybody, taking pictures with a lot of kids. A lot of people want to keep playing with us into the fall. We're going to be going into kid pitch, which is going to be a huge step for some of these kids. Some of them in a good way, some of them in a bad way. I mean, but mostly it's going to be bad. I mean, first year of kid pitch is just going to be awful. I'll just be quite honest. So there's going to be a lot of walks, a lot of hit batters. We're going to have kids crying on the field because they got hit by a pitch. They're going to be striking out left and right because they're going to be swinging at stuff that's not even close. It's going to be an adjustment, but it really touched my heart how many kids wanted to continue playing with us because I told them this after the game too, that this was a special group of kids. They came together. We started off as an average team, maybe even slightly below average. We had kids that couldn't catch the ball. We had kids that couldn't throw the ball. We had kids that weren't even coming close to hitting the ball. And in the last game, in the last few games even, we had kids that weren't able to hit the ball at the beginning of the year that were hitting home runs now. We had kids that had never played baseball, who had never touched a baseball bat. Now they're able to hit the ball. We had a kid that I'm serious. He had never. He's actually playing in the wrong league. He just turned 7. He should be playing t-ball because of his age and the fact that he's never touched a baseball bat or put on a baseball glove. So by that game, by the championship game, he got a hit in the championship game. I mean that's what it's all about right there. It's not about me. It's not about the coaches. It's not about any of that. It's about the kids. People look at it and they say, "Well, why do you keep wanting to coach if you just go to these games, these championship games, and you lose? How can you stand to sit there and watch these kids, break down after those games whenever they have a bad game and they lose the championship and now they're heartbroken and crying? And it's not about me and how I feel about that. It's my job as their coach to teach them how to handle that, how to handle adversity, how to handle situations that, just because they don't go your way, it doesn't mean you pack up and, you know, roll up in a sleeping bag and, shut yourself off from the world. That's not what we need. We got to start teaching kids how to handle this kind of adversity. We got to start teaching them that though you lose the battle, you have not yet lost the war. There is much more at work here than just one game here. These kids are learning so much through sports. Yeah, just making it to the dadgum championship in a league that's competitive like this one we played in this year, which was amazing, by the way. Shout out to NBA. It, it's such an accomplishment. I can't even tell you. I mean, not to mention when they changed the rules and you have to play an untimed game and all that. But that's just me griping. But the point is, kids learn so many life skills from playing sports. I've already talked to a bunch of the parents. I'm going to keep trying to talk to every single one of them that this isn't the end. They have to keep playing. If I could keep every single one of them, I would. I'm trying to keep as many of them I can in the fall because the rules are different in the fall, and I can actually keep the whole team if I wanted to or was able to. These kids learn so much from each other, from obviously the coaches as well. I hope that they don't feel let down by me because I for sure did not feel let down by them one bit. They taught me to be a better coach for sure. They taught me to be a better friend, and they teach me to be a better dad. It's a hard time of year for me, being the end of the year with these things because I get very attached to these kids. Whenever I do this, I look at it as I've gained 11 more sons. I really do feel that way about all of them. Every one of them brings something to the table. We had 12 kids on the team that maybe 5 or 6 knew each other, but by the end we had 12 friends, and they made memories in this game. Yeah, they lost, but they made memories in this game they will remember this until until the day they die. They will remember this stuff. That's why I keep doing it. Is the memories, the relationships, the lessons learned. What can I say? Sports are perfect. They're fair. What ends up happening is always what's supposed to happen. Like I said, you put in the work, you do the right thing, the outcome is just. Anyways, that's all I got for you tonight, guys. It's been a great coach pitch season. I think we only have like a month off before we start hitting it back again. I think maybe the end of July, something like that. But in the meantime, I'm sure I'll have all kinds of stuff for you on the Coach Dad segments that may or may not have to do necessarily with baseball, maybe with some other sports. But either way, tune in to us next time. But on your way out, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button for me on YouTube. Again, that really helps us out. Give us a rumble on Rumble. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook. And go ahead and check out the audio versions of all these podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, all the good ones. We're there most likely. Until next time, Dad out.